One not going to let a special play it, nor will they let LeBlanc be picked.
And I definitely think Zig is the kind of player who can play those fighters. He was a guy who was spamming Kled a lot when he came out, felt that it was a strong pick, playing a lot against some of the guys who were at Worlds as it was in North America and having some success there. Got an opportunity to talk to him a lot actually in some of those alternate streams for the top lane streams, and I definitely think he is able to play a wide variety of champions. And I mean, the Sion is not a meta pick, right? That was a new pick. Obviously didn't work out in this game, but he has the confidence to try these things out.
Definitely agree. Meanwhile, you're seeing what they're not willing to try out, which is letting the Fiora go over to Someday yet again. That ban is mirrored. Another one for Phoenix1, and they've got one final ban to go here on this phase. And let's see what they want to pinch down. No junglers yet off the table. Rengar would be the last one up.
Fiora is something that definitely can work in the meta. It's not really super common, I would say, right now, but Someday is known for his incredible Fiora. It's good into tanks. You don't want to let this guy take over a game and just win purely off of split pushing. So they have to give that respect ban over to him.
You see Phoenix1 almost forcing the Rengar ban, saying, hey, if you don't get rid of that, we've already dropped off Kha'Zix, we can be a tier above you. But that means Maokai is up, and that is one of the faster locks we're going to see here in this matchup. No surprise at all. And the counter pick, not locked in yet.
No.
But it'd be cool to see.
We did see a Darius game, I think it was from Amazing J, actually.
Yep, and he beat Camille with it really hard.
So it is something that, like, if this is solo queue, and you're playing Maokai and you see the other guy with Darius, you're like, oh god.
Yeah, this is not what I wanted.
Time to dodge.
Yeah,
but it is something that can be preyed on in competitive play with more organized teams, and it's a risky pick, right? It's something that has to play aggressive, has to bully, I think, and really smash lane to be able to do that.
Interestingly enough, the ban that was left up from Phoenix1 this time around, they had banned Varus in the first game. This time it's being left up and is actually picked over the chance of playing Ashe. Most teams would rather play Ashe, but Laud really wants his Varus. There's a chance it's key in the mid lane that we don't see it flex there very frequently. 6 seconds ago, Team Dignitas going to pick up the unseen tank from the previous, and looks like Poppy will be locked in as time dwindles down. So Poppy Maokai is going to be the matchup that many probably wanted to see Zig play, but now we will see it happen here.
It's interesting because Nautilus has been prioritized by most people over the Poppy so far. We are going to see Someday playing that Poppy, and we'll see how effective that he can really be, because it is something that has a lot of playmaking potential, right? Even super late into the game, you can win a team fight by yourself with an effective ultimate, knocking the right people out of the fight, stunning the right carry. There's always playmaking potential, and that's the kind of champion you want to have your best players playing.
Definitely agree. So Elise for Nori hoping to make the plays happen as well. Of course, some of that can be blocked out by Poppy W. And yeah, they're going to go for Ashe after all, realizing that the AD carry bot lane marksman pinch could have happened. Instead, we'd rather take it from the tier list. And they'll wait for mid and support Phoenix1.
And the question here now is, does Dignitas have to lock their jungle? Do they have to do that? Because you can get double banned on the jungle if you don't take something like the Lee. It's going to get banned away. The next tier is going to get banned away. And that could relegate into a further down pick. So they are going to do that. They're going to match picks.
Yep, mirrored roles right here. And of course, Team Dignitas gets first dibs on champions in the second phase here, and there's basically mid laners and supports left up. Now, do you ban the counter picks, then pick the champion itself, or do you go to different sides of the matchup? You can see Team Dignitas putting in mid lane bans, saying, hey, Syndra off the table, maybe really good for picking up a Corki first pick, something like this, if you want to go for this. We've actually seen several teams go for that Corki Varus, actually as a combo. Happened over on the other stream earlier in the day.
Yeah, both mid laners actually were playing Corki at the same time in 2 streams earlier, so definitely an option. Ryze still on the table. Ryu did have a really good game on Ryze. Yes, they get run over late game, but he was great in the early mid game. And now Ryze is actually going to be banned away there by P1.
Yep. Perhaps
Perhaps because Dignitas has that next pick.
And that makes it 3.5 mid lane bans right now, as Malzahar sometimes is one. Team Dignitas with their final ban of the draft phase, and Orianna also off the table. Orianna typically seen as a soft counter to Cassiopeia, and Keen had a reasonable Cassio game last time.
Also a fantastic combo with the Maokai, right? The Orianna Maokai combo is a classic, and they're not going to be willing to give over that powerful of a team fight to Phoenix1.
I'm wondering if you see, actually it's going to be Cassio ban. I could have
There's
thought
a lot of mid lane bans.
another option was to ban Misfortune and trade Cassio for Zyra and play that draft a bit farther down. But you're right, the entire phase is dedicated to mid laners here. And again, if we think Zyra's queen of support, it means you get the last pick out on Team Dignitas uncountered.
Certainly can. I don't think that Phoenix1 is going to kind of blind pick the the MF. But the problem would be then if you do not select it now, Phoenix1 will probably just take it, play it into MF. So they are going to elect to do that. We'll see if Adrian has MF up his sleeve. If he wants to play that, it looks like that will be the choice.
Yeah, Phoenix1, of course, can buy as much time as they want. They get 30 seconds for this pick, 30 seconds for the next. If you pick this one and lock it in sooner, you just give up time you could have had for your second pick right here. MF will be locked slightly early, and yes, they would rather play the Zyra side of the matchup that we all saw coming, and it means that Keen gets counter pick here in the mid lane. And looks like it's going to be Corki as the blind picked mid laner. So a triple marksman team. The second we've seen today, actually. We saw FlyQuest play it. It was Graves jungle. This time around, it's a marksman is Misfortune in the bot lane. And the counter pick to Corki might just be Twisted Fate here for Keen.
Interesting to see if he does elect to go for that.
Oh, Azir.
Wow.
Azir. I am surprised to see that pick come through. I know he's had some buffs after the Riley's Crystal Scepter nerfs, but have not seen much of this champion, but he is back in action.
Yeah, I haven't seen Azir in a really long time, and I was going to say, part of the reason I think Corki is a nice pick is not only because it's safe as a blind pick, it removes the Corki Varus comp as an option. So he's going to be there on Azir. Very excited to see how this does go. Obviously, late game, Azir is an absolute monster, but people kind of had stopped playing him because they felt you don't get to that point. He's too weak in the early game. You get smashed in lane, and that is going to be a concern. So we'll see how he's going to be able to play it out in this lane, if he's going to be able to avoid pressure from Inori and from Ryu after getting solo killed in game 1.
And I want to see if Keen actually sticks with the Summoner Heal if he does switch over to Cleanse, because you've got Elise, Maokai, and Ashe who are all great at stunning and picking down onto an Azir. And as the game loads up, we'll be able to see what summoner he actually went for. But that's going to be really interesting. Seeing an Azir in the mid lane here for Keen, we knew his champion pool is very, very large. He's one of those players who had popularized Urgot a year and a half ago or so. This guy has definitely played a lot of things that other people don't. But we are ready to get ourselves into the second game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, Keen was even a mid lane Graves guy.
Yep.
He
Hecarim.
was the first Hecarim guy with the home guard boots upgrade right off the bat. So he has his own way of playing the game, very flexible player, and he did swap to that cleanse as expected. Even though the heal would have been better for the 1v1 against Ryu, the game is not all about the 1v1. And especially late game, which is supposed to be your strength. Okay, great, you're a 6-item Azir now. You got hit by a CC and you died instantly. That's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that can be how it goes sometimes, but we are ready to go and get into the action here, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 is about to begin. Team Dignitas in their first North American LCS match of 2017 facing off against Phoenix1. Team Dignitas did win game number 1, as you can see on the scoreboard up here, but Phoenix1 can make the comeback as you get into Summoner's Rift.
We've been having a lot of 2-0 sweeps so far. I think every series has been a 2-0 so far, so it would be fun to see something go the distance here.
Yeah.
We had 2 2-0s yesterday, TL 2-0'd earlier today already.
Yep, FlyQuest 2-0'd on this stream, and I don't know how the concurrent one is going on the other.
But it wouldn't be over either way, so.
20-minute victories both times.
Oh, there you go.
Always a chance.
That's
always really unlikely. But you're right, every series that has ended in North America has been a 2-0. We might see them diverge. Phoenix1 could look for this to be their comeback. They did take away the Maokai. Zig could feel better about this one. Or we could have just as hard of a time as he did before up against Someday.
Yeah, I mean, Someday really was who won the game last time. His TP bot lane was fantastic, got the double there. He was the big winner in that Dragon fight, the fight by Baron. He was unkillable. He really was what made the difference, even on the Maokai. So, you know, if you're Zig, there has to be still some sort of kind of intimidation factor there too. You know you're playing up against one of the very best in the world, and you know he's gonna make stuff happen regardless of his champion pool.
And stuff's gonna happen right now. You're seeing the jungle invade. Inori and Zig now being attacked by Chaser and Someday. 3 triggers in the same breath. There's a jump on already. Want to do some damage. Thunderlord's triggered, yeah. But Inori does the same over to the Lee Sin. Chaser gonna look for the smite fight, and it's gotta go to Chaser.
He's
he
level
gets
2
his.
now.
Inori smited early. Actually able to dodge away the Sonic Wave, but that is a huge steal away. Chaser up a level, up a blue buff.
Yeah, and Inori is actually having to show so much respect that he just has to leave his entire half of the jungle. He knows that Chaser can come, meet him at that wolf camp, and Chaser checking on that. Now he'll just counter jungle likely this and the Grom. So I'm going to be very interested to see how Inori plays this out. I think the best choice from here, take the red, try to go immediately over to his opponent's blue and get something back, but there's risks there too.
And of course, and he's going to be smiteless for the next 40 seconds as well, so can't heal back up, can't secure against a Lee Sin.
And look at this, Keen is checking for it.
Yeah, Keen puts the word over the wall, so if he shows up, don't worry, we can back you up on this. And Ori finally level 2, but Chaser already starting his 3rd camp. It is going to be a slow road ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal because I don't even think that he's going to get level 3 off the Krugs. I think he's going to be still on level 2 and then have to do another camp after that.
Sure.
So, you know, he's definitely been delayed a ton. Chaser is already going to be hitting his level 3. So he's level 3 and Nori still has a camp and a half basically to complete before he hits 3. Like he is super, super behind.
Yeah, even if Chaser AFKs for 20 seconds right now, he is a full camp ahead of Nori. 2.5 right now on this Elise, and he's actually going to go for the early recall. Just too low on resources. Someday and Zig fighting back and forth. Someday actually has the wave going towards his own turret. He can pull in Chaser in about 30 seconds and maybe even look for a gank play. Oh, buff Lee Sin, of course, is very scary.
And this is going to mean Keen gets donated the blue buff because, you know, Chaser doesn't need it. He already got a blue. He's already high enough levels that CDR is not that important, energy regen, etc. Not really going to be that important. And this is going to be really nice for Keen. It allows him to have actually a lot more poke, safer wave clear because he doesn't always have to get in range for autos. He won't go
That's going to be big stuff right there. Smite comes through, Chaser doing plenty of damage to the Gromp. Close to level 4. Inori still not 3, although this camp, I believe, should give it to him. 2 non-buff camps should get you there. As the Gromp's patience runs out, he was pretty close to losing out on that, but gets it in the end. 86 gold, and oh, hello, little lone wolf. But yeah, Chaser, half a minute away from level 4 right now, practically a full level above Inori, and the gold lead for Team Dignitas as a whole, 600 right now. Gotta feel good for these guys, +7 for Keen. Obviously, we know Chaser's been winning, but you can see on the scoreboard at the bottom right there how everyone's doing quite well. Someday up 200. Who's surprised?
Not me. But I like the confidence from Inori. He gets counter jungle. He's level 2 at basis. What does he buy? Dark Seal. He just grabs the Dark Seal. So we'll see if he can actually start getting some stacks on this. He is level 3 now, and although he is obviously behind in pacing, if he can make some ganks work, he can be right back in there. But I just think Chaser has played this out so intelligently. Keen covering his blue, him clearing the weak side of the jungle, and he can look around and really try to make something happen here because right now, Inori has nothing to farm. He's just kind of wandering around.
He's got exactly Raptors up right now. Chaser leaving the Wolves the way they did meant that they're not going to respawn for a while as well. Of the last little dangling one waiting around. Bot lane push another turret. You're not going to dive a couple level 4 champions as level 3 Elise. Inori just really, really set behind. And that is smart by Chaser for how bad Game 1 looked for him. And again, some of that being Keen's fault by losing the lane so hard. Chaser is massively outplaying Inori here, putting a lot of good things happening.
And just look at the mid lane. I mean, Ryu is super low on health. You know, he's down quite a lot of CS. Keen is really battling back, and thanks in part to that donated blue buff. So the early game going fantastic for Dignitas. I think their scaling is better than their opponents, and they're already, you know, out to a lead. So they're going to be very happy about that, and definitely looking to kind of avoid any risky fights right now because they've shown they have great team fighting and they know they have good scaling. They can play it safe and they can look to try to compound those advantages.
Yeah. It's just interesting seeing how many different factors have gone into this game. Of course, again, Chaser with the great level 1 made things happen. The blue buff donation helps with Keen, but also exactly how many times has Ryu played this matchup in the last 4 months? Probably literally 0. And Keen brings out the Azir, feels really fresh on it. It's got a massive lead for himself, a nice quick back for the Berserker's Reeves, and I think just is going to feel good continuing this one-on-one advantage. And as you mentioned, the Team Dignitas scaling is good, and this looks like the beginnings of a 2-0 if they can keep going this way.
Certainly, but we're a long ways away.
Yes, we are.
It's funny to think how different the game could look if Inori just won that Smite fight, right? You know, if he hits that, he gets level 2, he chases Chaser out, Chaser maybe has the base, he takes his rep up, and it shows the confidence that they have to make those risky plays because you have to be pretty sure you're going to be able to win that Smite fight if you go for something like that. It's definitely a risky play.
And now Ryu has some better wave clear tools. Of course, playing a mid-range champion against Azir is very hard, but now that he's got rockets and the Q, the wave clear is much easier. And you know, you see a nice aggressive ward there by Keen saying, hey Ryu, if you try to roam out of your lane, I'll see which way you go. I know when you're going to blue buff. By the way, that's spawning soon. And Chaser looking for a tasty morsel, maybe some spiders to kill.
A Dark Seal on Zig as well, interesting. So
that's okay on Corrupting Potion because it's practically health. You get about 100 HP out of the extra healing coming out of that.
Yeah, I'm just so used to seeing double Doran's Ring because that is something that can give you a really good wave clear and lots of mana regen. And Inori level 4, I don't even think he wants to go in on that.
Well, he makes, woo, look at that. Whoa. Fancy plays at a Keen. Chaser did have to grab the blue himself, it looks like, so that's not going to Keen just yet. But now Adrian going to take some plant hits. A nice double up shot, hits special in the face, and no ulti up. Either way, yeah, a nice blue buff take, and okay, cleanse burn, but still feels like advantage team Dignitas.
Yeah, and that's just Keen showing respect to their team, not knowing who else is there. There's no way Inori is actually going to be able to kill him there as a level 4 Elise with no real damage to add, but he doesn't know where the other teammates are. He doesn't know if there's someone following up, so he just cleanses it really fast, and he's going to look for that. Meanwhile, Chaser going to be pretty close to 6. He is 6 now, has Flash available, and that is kind of playmaking time here for the Lee Sin. But you can see the P1 bot lane moving up here. They're trying to get vision down. They're trying to make something happen and perhaps be able to kind of set up for this Infernal Dragon in a couple minutes.
Yeah, maybe so. We know that both these champions are capable of soloing it, and neither actually have the best ward control, that theoretically Nori could just go for it.
Actually got no wards in with 3 people walking in there.
Right, so you know, the chance of just making that little cheeky play. Now, it puts you behind an XP. The Drake's worth basically nothing on that regard, and he's already down a full level under Chaser, but either way, it's just not going to be the case, and Chaser continues to just stymie every move that Inori tries to make right here. Arrow's going to land onto Lod. Plenty of damage there on Varus, but literally no follow-up. Adrian doesn't even ult for it. Seems a little
that was strange.
Wrong to not hit R at some point, but
seems like he just wasn't even expecting it or something. I'm not sure if there was no communication there or it was essentially a harassing Ash Arrow. But there's enough lifesteal on Lod. He's probably playing Warlords. He is going to be able to heal that back up, so definitely not worthwhile. And that is kind of the strength of the Ash MF combo is you hit the arrow, you ultimate over that, you have them slowed down, and that's kind of how you get your kills.
And that one didn't happen just yet, but Ryu has the pack. She picks it up. This is the time he says, all right, in the next minute, I can make a big play and look for something to do. Unfortunately, that Enchanted Crystal Arrow is down, so he doesn't have that as a better dive tool. Maybe they can track which way Chaser goes. Hawkshot comes out, sees that he was taking the Wolves.
And it is at least fair to mention that Lod did expend his ultimate too, and did whiff that. So they're both down on ultimate. It's not like they have a big disadvantage off it. Not the play they were looking for, but not the end of the world either. And this time around, you know, Zig pretty close in CS in top lane. Package available for Ryu. We'll see if they can try to make a play here. They're trying to move 4 down, but Keen is on the way.
Yeah, it's a known 4v3. Again, they can click and know that it was Chaser's ward. They could assume anyway based on seeing the other 2 bot laners, and it's just not enough for Ryu to pull the trigger on this one. 500 gold difference. For the early lead that Chaser's built, it's at least stagnated now, and P1 are laning about as well as they can. Zig only down 7. Really not as bad as the last matchup was, but that's because he first picked the Maokai, and Inori not going to land the Cocoon. Special knew to play far enough back to not be tagged up.
Yeah, certainly did. And I've just been so impressed with the way that Chaser has played this out at this game. Is really been looking good. But I am waiting for him to kind of pull the trigger on his first play, because I do think that he should be looking for it.
And he looks again. This time around, it does force the flash. He would have died for sure.
Yeah, Nori was there. Yeah, definitely would have gone down. So a good flash by Lod, but you know, he is able to force that out, and Arrow pulling the trigger with those Ashe ultis pretty quickly, and I do love to see that. It's something that you should be going for. Anytime you can get a summoner, anytime you can do something like that, you get a positive trade, because your cooldown on your ultimate is much shorter than the opponent's summon.
Absolutely agree, and even just bottom lane in general for Phoenix1, I think is performing very well. For how rough the jungle is, for how rough the mid lane is. Arrow is up 18 minions right now. Even Agent's got 11. And I know Malzahar boardlings don't count. I don't remember if Zyra plants count for CS or not. I'm assuming they do with the 11 CS that MF has. So some of that's a little bit inflated, to be completely fair, but it's still a lead. It's turret damage. It's summoner pressure, and we might see P1 get something out of this bot lane.
And Arrow has been playing really well so far, not even just in this game, but in the LCS. Yesterday, he played great. I even think in the earlier game, he played quite well. In game 1, I thought he was kiting very well. He was able to actually get out a lot of damage, even while under pressure, and without his front line kind of there to support him. So it's very tough to play an AD carry when the other team has a massive front line and yours is kind of collapsing. But he was able to do an admirable amount of damage, and I've been very impressed with him kind of across the board so far.
Yeah, I think Arrow's definitely good, and most people have him as at least a top 3 bot laner here in the North American LCS.
And I think he could end up being the best.
He could end up being the best, absolutely. You just got to wait and see what happens. He's also building a more aggressive build, whereas he went for Essence Reaver over in Game 1 with the snowballing Kha'Zix. He's now going for the Infinity Edge build on Ashe, which will mean a significant increase in damage to the tune of maybe 25% or so over the other build. So definitely much more teamfight DPS for him.
And he's got that arrow available, so if they do see, Chaser somewhere else on the map, they know that they're safe to look for these all-ins, they could go for it. Laud does not have his flash. They have double ultimates available. Will he look for it? He's kind of pinching on up.
They're hemming and hawing a little bit because they really just cannot find where the Lee Sin is. Hawkshot was recently used on their own Wolf camp, just seeing where the heck is Chaser, what has he killed. That camp's already gone. He got that earlier.
And Lee Sin is moving down here. They have spotted him now, so they'll back off.
Good ward staying up. Adrian gets his sight stone in time to remain safe, and no real major losses here. Quick red buff to be grabbed by Inori, and that should be safe as well.
Yeah, and Inori, he had a tough start, but he's actually up in CS now. Keen, okay, good. Valkyrie out there.
Yeah, Keen almost got into that one. Here comes the trade of blows. Exhaust is on Cleanse to get away from it, and that's going to be enough damage. One more shot can pick off Ryu. He's running
here
for dear life because Chaser wants in. Can't get the Sonic Wave, but the first blood still lands. The long-range Q, and suddenly it's Zig. Knocked up against the wall. Does have flash, pops it, and satchels over into the brush. He's going to get away, but still, first blood, solo kill for Keen. Burning both summoners and getting it. But that's bot lane pressure now for P1. If they can get Elise, that could be a turret.
Yeah, they are going to get this turret. I think it should just go down. But actually, Arrow backed off quite a bit there, giving maybe too much respect over.
Yeah, that felt a little bit too respectful. Nobody's around. Maybe they're afraid of someday teleporting behind, but any fight gets met by double ult from the double marksman.
And Ashe Arrow is still available, so, if Dignitas hangs around, that Ashe Arrow is going to miss.
But they should have the damage regardless. Actually, no, first turret still went over to Team Dignitas. Wow. They didn't push hard enough, and it's actually a gigantic gold swing for the red side. That's
actually really huge that Arrow backed off there, didn't have the confidence to stay and get those extra autos, because that is the bonus gold going over to Dignitas, and that's being funneled into Keen, who's already has the CS lead, got first blood, now the tower gold. Look at that lead at mid lane. He's 1,200 up off of this little play, and that's something that seems small, but really it's quite big. Arrow should have got an extra auto or two in there, I think, and he needed to go for it.
Absolutely, so unfortunate there. Final hit comes through, and Nori lets it tick down with the red buff, but with the bot lane pressure, and yes, they were down the first turret bonus gold, Phoenix1 at least able to grab the Infernal Drake, the internet's favorite Drake. It means more stats. It should mean a lot for Arrow's damage output. Should be quite a bit for Ryu's damage output, to be honest. He's got good attack damage ratios. Adrian the same, so one of the better Infernal Drake team compositions at the very least. Phoenix1 going to continue to try to push forward and make up for the 1,600 gold deficit.
One small thing I will say, I'm a little bit surprised that Xpecial decided to not go for an early Frostfang. I think that is something that is very, very common on the Zyra. It's pretty easy to continuously get those procs out, and you do end up generating a lot more gold. It's almost double per hit, and over the course of the entire game, in this 15 minutes, you usually can make up most of that price. Yeah. So I do think that grabbing that early on is very nice, but obviously it's you have to weigh that against the value of having the faster Moby boots or the sights.
Right now, it's Team Dignitas who just have the control, and hey, able to roam down to the mid lane. Keen helps knock that one out, and it's 2 turrets to 1. Team Dignitas not in the same difficult situation they were in the first game, just in control as a team, taking down Phoenix1 so far.
Yeah, they certainly are, and someday kind of quietly working away, closing in on 20 CS lead here, starting to bully out Zig. Not what you want to see here with this first pick Maokai, where they're trying to get him the advantage. They're banning out Someday. They're giving over the first pick to your top laner. You need to try to make something work here as Zig, and we'll see when he finally does pull the trigger on one of these TP flanks, what can they really get done? Because that's the kind of thing that they're going to have to be able to do.
Look at that. Oh.
I mean, you have to get in behind the Varus, behind the Zyra, behind the Azir, because in a straight up kind of smacking each other's heads against each other, it's going to go their way.
Well, looking to smack some heads around the backside. Arrow face checking into Lod. He's going to lose his life for this one. Wanted to go in forward. Adrian going to flash for the slow. Don't know if he really needed it anyway. Struck could have made him move fast, but Nori's going to reach. But now here's Zig on the other side of the map. Alone in a 1v3. He's going to run out of health pretty rapidly. There's the kill coming through to Chaser. Lod still running away. Finally, kill goes over to Nori, but it felt much cleaner when Team Dignitas executed, so
Yeah,
It's just more tempo.
We'll have to see that Arrow fight once again, because it looked like he just flashed forward, started autoing minion, or like kind of went forward, started autoing minions, didn't use his ult. I don't really know if he spent his mana and he wasn't expecting that. I'm not sure what happened, but that looked weird.
It did look a little bit weird. Don't know what it was. Maybe he thought he was behind and tri-brush with the rest of them. Who knows? But definitely a misplay and lost a flash. He didn't have to. And because Team Dignitas had not yet killed top lane Outer, that gank turned into more turret gold. Ryu just alone in the mid lane, only down 11 minions, but it's still Keen who's been much more effective this game, and mid lane Outer still not down, 3-1 in turrets.
And here it is once more. We're going to see Arrow kind of electing into this 1v1.
Hey, he's but just partially AFK. He just face checked into the minion wave a little bit.
Yeah, that was really weird. And had Laud actually hit that Q, he would have killed him there. So that's pretty rough. Arrow not using his ult, maybe looking somewhere else on the map. But either way, they did eventually chase down Laud, and they do pick up that kill. But meanwhile, it was the kill on Maokai and the turret. So Dignitas getting more across the map, really looking strong in this series, Game 1 and Game 2. And you can see, Someday wants to keep the pressure on. He's going to go with his Easy Rot in this matchup because he's starting to bully out Zig, and he feels, this is how I get the most pressure. I aggressively place this down. I get turret pressure because traditionally, tanks cannot clear out those turrets. But with this item, you can.
We do have finally some poke here onto Keen. The rockets landed a few times, and that is 0 down to about 1/3 HP. Might prompt the recall. 15 seconds to go till the next minion wave arrives, and that means a little bit of dead time as Phoenix1 walks back into the jungle. They find Chaser, good damage. Ryu's got to be careful. Q into kick would almost kill, but not quite, and that means Chaser does not pull the trigger. Stays in his side of the jungle, heals up with a smite, and he's going to feel okay with this one. You see Someday really working through this bottom jungle. He's got that Zrop portal pushed down right in front of the Krugs. Thank you very much, spectators. That is where it is, and it's going to push into the turret. And that means that Zig is going to be under his turret for quite some time, trying to push his way back.
And this is really smart. He actually doesn't think it's going to survive. He's already rotating mid lane, knowing they have to respond to this. So knowing it will die, they're going to try to force a play mid lane or top side while it's being responded to bot side. So this is really, really intelligent use.
Despite the Hexdrinker and the Merc Treads, you can see that Chaser still takes decent damage out from Ryu, and keep in mind the double marksman in the bot lane do physical damage, so a good team fight will look good for Phoenix1, but they haven't found one just yet. Team Dignitas still on the pressure. Make It Rain doesn't really stop much, and Bullet Time actually used to keep them off the turret, down to half HP, but that is a team fight ulti down. Dignitas can feel even better about their next battle.
Yeah, and we have Zig here on the side. He's looking to get behind them. I think P1 feels this game kind of slipping away from them a little bit. They want to try to make something happen.
Let's see if they can. It's a 3,000 gold departure right here. Mid lane tier 2 still under fire, this time without Bullet Time to slow it down. Zig once again sees Someday. Inori goes for the stun, can't quite find Keen. But look at the Inori health bar just dropped down, gets tackled and popped. Someday just needed to find the tackle and it happens. Now Ryu in a world of hurt. CC on a Chaser showing up and sends it home. Someday still locking up Zig. And now going to turn back around, but a quick 2 for 0 just outside the turret. Well executed by Dignitas.
Yeah, and I mean, Inori tried to walk through Someday to land the cocoon on Keen, who has his cleanse up. That is just...
that's suicidal.
It is, yeah. Even if he hits it, Keen's going to get out of there, no problem. The turret's going to go down. They lose 2 kills. P1 kind of falling apart here a bit.
Definitely agree. Falling apart's the right term for it. Losing more and more as time goes on. 4 turrets to 1 and a 4,500 gold lead with a Cloud Drake spawning in 10. And no package up means Ryu's not going to get across the map fast, and that should be an easy pickup afterwards for Team Dignitas.
And here it is once again. Inori just trying to walk through him. There's so much damage coming out. Someday nails the wall stun, backs off, knowing his teammates will be able to finish him there. And you have to think, Inori should have just gone for Someday, tried to do some damage there, but then Ryu gets caught. Bad goes to worse. They take the turret. And Dignitas in these 2 games is just looking so good. Really, I think, silencing a lot of the doubt that has been brought up by some people. You know, Reginald talking yesterday doesn't think these kind of teams work with the multiple languages, with the imports, but Dignitas, at least for now, they look great.
They do look great. I had them personally power ranked as 4th coming into the season. I thought that the total skill would be really good, and you know, so far looking pretty reasonable. P1 I thought was maybe a playoff caliber team. I thought they got some upgrades, but right now it definitely looked outclassed by Team Dignitas. Quick dodge by Laud, but he's still alone. Bullet time has to be cut short as here comes the threat of Someday, and he will arrive. A quick cancel by Zig, and that is at least a small cooldown advantage for Phoenix1, but will there be a chase right here? A special almost gets stunned up, almost gets popped, has to flash away, and more cooldowns in the advantage.
Good side step by Inori.
Definitely agree that Sonic Wave could have been painful, but you can see how much damage is dealt him by Keen. That Azir does a lot of punishment. Repel gets him away, and Ori stays alive.
And P1, they're looking to make a play here. They're trying to pick off Laud, but Laud not even blowing a summoner, plays it cool, sidesteps the arrow, steps out of the ultimate, and they're going to get themselves an advantage here and another turret perhaps because of that.
Oh, it's Ryu in the backline, actually finds the kill onto a special. This is now a flank and a 5v4. No bullet time, no Ash arrow, only the Maokai ulti. Zig in the front line, taking up Someday. Can they find this? Keen can go big, and he gets one already. He's looking for arrow, a quick snipe by Laud brings him lower, and Zig gets kicked back. Chase is still in the front, looks for a little bit more as Keen refocuses the soldiers. And that's Maokai ulti down, and Nori below 1,000 HP, so Keen wants in. He gets the knockback, and another big play out of Azir. 4-0-1 is looking amazing here. 202 minions to top that one. And now Zig running for dear life. Not nearly the same team fight that Someday brought in the previous.
I know, Dignitas cornered there, but they're able to pull off the team fight win anyway. It was a good pick on Xpecial, a good try by P1, but Dignitas playing it calm, cool, and collected. And the carries were able to stay alive. And here it is once more. Xpecial walking back in. He was kind of low. Nori, Ryu, they commit for it. Double flash comes in. Zig is there. Looks like they have been cornered. You know, Someday and Chaser, though, zoning off most of the threat because Adrian is low. He's out of mana. Arrow's out of mana. Keen takes down one, pokes out the other, and they just cannot get to Laud and Keen.
Right here, he says, you know what, we can fight top side. I've hit Nori enough that big play time, let's go.
And that was just beautiful. So nice by Keen. Beautifully executes that Azir combo. Looks like he's kept in practice.
Looks like he's very well practiced. This is why Azir has like a 45% win rate in solo queue. Because people like Keen exist who are so good at this champion.
Doesn't look like that when I do it, Freak.
Nor when I do it. But this is what the champion can do. He's incredibly skill intensive. I'll never be as good as Keen, that's okay, but this is what this champion can do in the hands of a master. Keen, known for a wide champion pool, and yet has the depth on Azir as well.
Certainly does, and I mean, he was gifted some early advantages from Chaser and the advantage that they got starting with that blue buff, and he has made use of it.
Pretty quick cleanse. Yep.
So backs off once more, and Someday back in the bot lane. He's going to set up the ZZ Rod. He's going to be able to join up with his team, but for now, he has no TP, and they're going to have to give up this turret.
And they're going to find a little bit of CC as well. Root and a Keen missing cleanse, but the knockback keeps Zig away from doing more. And you can see how much damage just the artillery put onto him. Chaser wants in, kicks into the team, but they dodge away from that, so that doesn't mean
Someday's behind the team. They're looking for the collapse.
And
here he comes.
The pop. He gets the flash done into Ryu. Plenty of damage there. The knockback onto three. Goodbye to one of them. Who's going to be next? It's Arrow. He's got one blinking over his head. Someday wants in. Keen the same, and goodbye. A quick double kill. Bullet time means almost nothing. 5v3 on the map. Dignitas have complete control.
Once again, well played by Dignitas. They disengage the 5v4. They give Someday the time to make the collapse, and he punishes Phoenix1 big time. And now it looks like Dignitas' next step is going to be Baron. They're looking to set up Vision here and try to prepare for that. They obviously need Keen to get some time to actually base, heal up, buy, but they can kill this Baron fast with the soldiers.
Needs to respect. Nicely played. That would have killed 90% of players online right there. Adrian juking back and forth saying, I know they can see me, and there's a Zyra over that wall, tries to bait Grasp Roots, finally does so, and okay, it actually stopped the Baron. They weren't willing to look for the Baron rush with Nori still on the map, and Adrian not suiciding there is part of the reason why it was stopped.
Certainly so, and not that easy to stay alive in these kind of fights, but here it is once more. P1 having been pushed off the turret. In comes Someday. Flash, stun, onto Ryu. 3-man knockup, just beautiful there. That nets in the first kill, and the chase down onto Arrow. No shot at him getting away. Adrian trying to clean up Keen over that wall, but unable to do so, and it's going to be another Dragon going the way of Dignitas.
Sure, why not? Actually, they're first of the game, interestingly enough. Phoenix1 was able to solo it, and Diga just played for turret control more so than the Drakes, and that's fine enough for them. They grew the gold lead to a good spot. Scuttle Crab control does go over to Phoenix1, so they have about a minute's reprieve of not getting that objective snuck. You can't clear it, you must wait for it to time out. 5,500 gold, Team Dignitas in the advantage, gonna feel good cresting into the end part of the mid game.
They certainly will, but Someday, once again, back in the bot lane, gonna set up that ZZ Rod, gonna have that lane pressure there, and he has his TP available. He's up 2 levels again, and this guy is just making it work.
He is. He's making it work. Keen's making it work absolutely. 6-0-1, the best scoreline on the team. Team Dignitas looking to maybe shut this one in. The Void Spawns just barely can reach the turret, and they can get plenty of damage down on this. So Someday looks to keep the pressure up. He has a 2-level lead over his lane opponent. Arrow and Inori hoping to set a trap at this top outer turret. Someone's got to collect that wave, and that someone is going to be almost all of Team Dignitas. They run up the river.
Yeah, they are aware that Phoenix1 is behind. They're missing off the map. Stay grouped up, play it safe. Do not give them the opportunity to kind of spring some of these traps. And it may be, oh, what a quick flash.
Absolutely. Lod was dead if he didn't hit that just in time, but well played by him.
Wow.
Double TP Someday arrives. Zig shows up as well, roots up the tank, and is it going to work well for him? Pops his own ultimate. Looks for the fight. Phoenix1, can they get the opening as Keen is waiting on the bot side, but getting dueled out by Ryu means he's not part of the real fight. There's the bullet time, plenty of damage on a Someday, but they kick an arrow. Look at that, beautifully executed by Chaser, and Keen drives it home. A trade in for Ryu, no quick knockback there, but Inori not gonna have a home to run to. A triple kill for Keen. Looking for a bit more, can't quite find the opponent still. 3-1, a great fight for Team Dignitas.
And the Voidlings killed off the bot lane turret there, or about to, so that's going to be going down. The Baron is on the table here. Keen has that red buff, can heal up from this. Phoenix1, they need to make some sort of a miracle play. They can't just give this over. They're too far behind.
Flash Root not quite going to land on any targets, and actually Keen doesn't want to stay in this battle. Looks like Baron hurts them too much, and Team Dignitas must once again abort the Baron.
Yeah, well worth it there for Ryu and Adrian. They needed to stop that. You can't give up a Baron when you're in this kind of position, and they fight for it. They keep themselves alive, but here it is once more, and watch this. This is Wild Turtle-esque. I remember that. Look at that. That is so fast. He has almost no warning of that. Ridiculously good reactions from Laud, and then the team fight breaks down. Both of the top laners TP in, and Keen, he's dueling on the bottom side of the fight. He is really the key here. Ryu looks to try to duel him out, but Keen's able to push him back, able to join in on the fight. It looked like it may be going P1's way, as Adrian had a great ultimate, but then look at that kick from Chaser. Kicks arrow in, stacks them up, and Keen is able to knock them both down.
That was definitely beautiful. Ward hop into kick flash, I think it was there for Chaser, just to land the angle. It was absolutely beautiful, and his Lee Sin definitely no slouch. Didn't have the same slow start that game one did, and just kept running with it. Chaser honestly has made a lot of great plays this game.
And this is kind of what we talked about last game. You know, Dignitas got really behind in the jungle early game, but still were able to win. What would it look like if they got ahead? And this is it. This is a very measured, very controlled game from Dignitas. They've been ahead across the board at all stages, and they are just looking like such a solid team.
I agree. They really do seem to look polished, and we have to see as time goes on, was Phoenix1 the right test for them, or are there...
That's the question.
You know, more bosses along the way? I mean, it's Mega Man-esque, right? You've got to get through all 9 of them, and okay, we've got the Ice Beam now, thanks we took down P1. I should have picked a Fire Beam because they're a Phoenix, but it's Anivia. We're playing League of Legends Phoenix style. It's still Ice Beam in this case. But yeah, they've got to go through the rest of this to see the next test, the next test, the next test. How will this continue to go here for Team Dignitas? This one looking pretty reasonable. Keen in the right matchup can look insane. Right, game 1 gets solo killed level 2. Game 2 hard carrying the roster from the mid lane on Azir that no one's playing right now, and you know, maybe that kind of variance is gonna hurt Dignitas in the regular season. I don't know. It's only a 2-game sample. Yeah,
it's tough to say, but to be fair, you know, Keen, while he had a bad laning phase in game 1, he was still strong in the team fight stage. He still was able to contribute, and it was not a non-factor whatsoever. And Dignitas moved to the Baron, trying to tank this up with the Zyra plants. They're looking to burn this down. Phoenix1 needs to contest, but Someday is here to flank.
Looking for it, and always got to be careful. Not going to get
Good
tackled.
Disengage.
And Someday, though, look at the amount of health he's losing, down to 2/3. Arrow just chasing him around. Laud, waiting by a satchel, does jump the wall. Adrian doesn't see him to stop the recall. Someday does not have teleport, but there is a home guard boost available. Infernal Drake in 1 minute. Dignitas blue buff about to spawn, and the Phoenix1 red buff actually available right now. So there are some things that are easy to take available on the map.
And credit to Phoenix1. I mean, they've been able to hold off the Baron. They have not been overcommitting. They've not been face checking. They're able to disengage out of Someday there, calmly get away after stopping the Baron. Same thing as we saw previously. And then the time before that, Adrian not face checking again. So Phoenix1 is playing well around their disadvantages. They are hanging in the game, and they're giving themselves a chance to scale up in this game and really have a fighting shot at taking it later on.
And there really is a real chance. Since last team fight, Adrian finally hit level 11 for rank 2 bullet time and finished Black Cleaver. So, and the thing is, everyone's stacking mostly magic resist on the lineup. You can see the build from Chaser, right? Hex Drinker, Merc Treads, Banshee's Veil finally gets a Chain Vest. Like, these are kinds of champions that you can work through, I think, somewhat realistically on Arrow and Adrian here when you've got more damage output. So,
especially with the build that Adrian has gone, or sorry, Arrow has gone rather, where he did go for the Infinity Edge instead of that Essence Reaver. He's going for the more aggressive auto attack build that synergizes well with the Black Cleaver, have that extra armor shred, and he has a pickaxe, which is very likely going to be a Last Whisper. Once he has completed that, he's going to do a lot of damage. But Keen over here soloing away Infernal.
Pretty easy to do. You know, there's plenty of damage on a champion like Azir. Not a problem for him. Thanks very much. Bonus stats are nice, and Team Dignitas going to feel much better about that next team fight. Zig slowly but surely trying to work down this top lane outer. He's really not being attacked. The rest of P1 has the ward control he needs.
And
Adrian, get it yet, but it's close.
Adrian and Nori, nice job kind of zoning out Dignitas so they can't respond to that. He doesn't actually finish off that turret, unfortunately, though. I think they're too worried about the collapse, and they're too worried about the push down mid lane. So doesn't end up getting them much, and Dignitas right back to the scene of the crime, heading over to Baron, trying to clear out the wards, trying to establish their full vision control once more.
All of P1 is recalled recently. Most are under 1,000 gold in pockets right now. There's a couple of Team Dignitas members who haven't spent in a little while, so the gold lead is slightly misleading as far as inventory value. You can see the net worth, right, higher for that left side column of Team Dignitas, where there's just more in pockets, not turning into stats. But still, they've got the level lead. They've got that extra Cloud Drake for the movement speed, for maneuvering around these kind of situations. Maybe you find that pick you weren't going to otherwise. Maybe you dodge that Ashe arrow you weren't going to otherwise. Sometimes that happens. But you can see, yes, top lane is low, but P1 have not been able to complete that objective yet. Vlad going to get a nice, safe red buff.
I want to give some credit to Ryu, too. I like his build here, picking up the third item Void Staff. A lot of people would have skipped that for a Rapid Fire, for an IE, that sort of thing. But in this case, you pointed out all the MR across the board, and it's going to add a lot more damage. So good build by him. Dignitas right back to the Baron. Can P1 stop them this time? It's been spotted.
Ryu's running, and so is Adrian from all the way across the map, though. But
back off.
Dignitas are so risk-averse right now. I mean, you can tell Chaser used to be on Jin Air. Because Jin Air only plays 70-minute long games, even when they're winning, and there's like 6 total kills. And it just, he brought it with him.
And while Dignitas hasn't made any mistakes, really, they're playing great. The longer you let your opponents hang around, the more chances they have to make plays. The more Ashe ults that can get thrown out there and look for picks. And that is something that's very risky, especially if you're not continually expanding your gold lead. Because this gold lead means less and less as the game goes on. Down 5K at 35 minutes, not that big of a deal compared to when you're down 5K at 20 minutes.
Of course, but now they've set up for what might be the game-winning push. Tier 2 turret revived by Azir, looking for the mid lane inhibitor. Arrow hit Vlad, he pops USS. Okay, that's one. But there's still a turret to run to. Keen actually chunked down to 1/3. Look at the damage output. Bullet time forces a flash, and Keen is out of summoners. Ryu wants to get over the wall, but can't quite get the rest of the way, and he's not dumb enough to burn Valkyrie to suicide into his special. But look at that, a quick stop right there, and P1 can get map control back.
Yeah, and they got the flash off of Keen, which means that hard engage is going to be that much more effective. If Zig can get in on a flank, if he can catch out that mid laner, it's P1 now moving towards the Baron. Will they pull the trigger on this? We talked about Dignitas, they're being very risk averse. P1 wants to go straight for it. Can they burn it down?
They've got 3 marks, but nothing but
they're going to try to finish
now,
it.
Hoping to steal up against Chaser. Can they make it? Blue team secures Arrow, last hits the Baron, and even gets a free trip out courtesy of Someday. A no casualty Baron take by Phoenix1, 3,000 gold game.
Right back in it is Phoenix1. They make the risky play. They call Dignitas' buff, and they come away looking good.
Wow. So we talk about what Team Dignitas looks like coming from behind. I mean, Phoenix1 coming from behind, like, let's just give up first blood every game. The games look better when you do. P1 have the chance to make this comeback. Now it looks real.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix1 just never made the mistake that allowed Dignitas to get that death blow. They never allowed them to get the Baron. They never allowed... Oh no, dear. Nori.
That is some damage. Down to 1/3 HP. Jumps to a ward, thankfully. Phoenix1 and Nori has the way out, but That looked scary.
Good volley as well from Arrow. Nicely timed onto Someday, removing the home guard. So that's TP down for the Dignitas top laner. And finally, it feels like Zig, for the first time, has that TP advantage. He can move around, perhaps get sidewave minion control, and start to kind of look to battle back in that regard.
You can just see, though, the damage output as it increases for Keen. Now, he has to stay safe, obviously. We've seen how much Phoenix1 has been able to try to pick on him and find those openings, but given time, Keen does ludicrous levels of damage output. You saw him eviscerate a blue buff, he soloed a Drake earlier, and the tank-busting items have come through. Void Staff for both the mid laners, fully upgraded Last Whisper hybrids for both of the bot lane marksmen. Arrow's got Lord Dominic's, Vlad has Mortal Reminder. Makes sense, you're against a Maokai, that's the right choice, absolutely. And they've also got some magic resist itemization as well. Hexsprinkler on one, QSS on the other, trying to survive the mage damage. Only one item slot really left, one major item slot left for both those marksmen in the bot lane. The supports, of course, still room to grow. Leandry's a big pickup for Xpecial. Moving towards what's probably going to be Ryle's then having that Ruby Crystal.
And these are two very big-time impact supports, right? These are two guys who can bring a massive amount of damage with the right MF ulti. We saw it from Smoothie yesterday. You can carry a team fight, and the same is very true about Xpecial on this Zyra, but it's P1's time to siege. We'll see what can they really get done here. How much are they willing to commit into Dignitas, because they have their catch abilities too, and it's definitely scary.
And there's a lot of poke on both sides, right? You've got the openings for Cocoon can open things up. Corki, of course, known for the poke, but Azir and Varus, and even, I should say, especially Leandry Zyra can just, from 1,000 or more range away, get a couple hundred health off your bar. And you can see that even despite having a Baron buff, Phoenix1 not able to make the top lane true to fall, just running around the map.
And the bot lane is being controlled once again by Someday. He is pushing that out, dropped his Easy Rot down there, and is going to be able to have that wave heavy push. So Ryu comes down here, he's going to be able to collect that up. Just finished his IE, which is going to mean he's going to be even better at punching through the tanks. That is actually a very big deal for Ryu there. And you can see the emphasis on vision control that P1 really wants to have. They have 10 pink wards in inventory slot. Well, 9 now because Adrian just dropped one.
Sure.
But he had 3. It was 10 freak. Still counts.
No, I agree. Phoenix1, I think, is Crepo's favorite team right now. I have heard so many commentaries where he's like, if you're in mid-game, you should sell your Dorans and buy some pink wards. Now they're control wards, but if you learn one thing from LCS, it's the Phoenix1 itemization right there. Everyone should buy wards late into the game. The vision is going to be there, and they need that to make the picks. They've got Elise, who's not a team fighter. She's landing a Cocoon and go off on somebody. You've got Landon Asher across the one. Hope they don't have the reflexes. Hope it's from Fog of War. Look for these openings. Elder Dragon alive now, and Team Dignitas in position for the 5v5. Baron is already timed out for P1.
Especially because, similar to last game, Noria is committed to a full damage build. He's not kind of saying, okay, we're getting further in the game, I'm going to build tank, or oh, I'm behind, I'm going to build tank. He just goes damage. He has Abyssal, Leandry, Stork Shoes. He is looking to zero someone out.
Whoa!
Ryu.
Zeroing out. Look at the damage up what he has on Keen. Takes him down to half HP, lands another rocket. You can see the damage up what Ryu could deal.
They could try to start up the Dragon here if they have confidence. They know Keen is either going to have to stay around very
careful, no kick yet for Chaser.
He's low on the side.
Bullet time doesn't do a ton, but yeah, you're right. Keen a little bit low. The knockup happens thanks to Xpecial's ultimate, but the chunk is enough to force him away. Some days no flash, some days no teleport.
Now they start Dragon. They have to start Dragon here, you'd think. We'll see if they're going to go for it. I really think with the flashes down, with the health chunked out, you need to start this up, and they finally do. Anori waiting on the side, looking for a Cocoon.
And both solo laners of Team Dignitas finished their recalls. They're back in the base. Dignitas knows they cannot fight for this. So 2.5 minutes of Elder Dragon. It's going to go until 43 minutes into the game. They're going to have that buff.
And you have to remember, this is a stronger Elder Dragon than we saw last year. This one lasts longer, and it is something that you have to be much more afraid of, because you talked about Poke Freak, and this makes, even a Maokai Sapling can be very damaging. If that hits someone like Xpecial, with that true damage burn, it can really chunk you out.
I believe it ends up being, 90 true damage over 3 seconds. 1 plus the number of 1 plus number of Elemental Drakes times 45 over 3 seconds. 90 true damage is a pretty good amount of true damage against someone like Vlad or Keen, who doesn't really have any bonus health right now.
Yeah.
18s across the board for a lot of these champions. Ryu's got maxed out someday, and Keen the same boat. Banshee's Veil actually picked up. Keen really wants some magic resist, who wants to be able to break away from an Ash Arrow and just face tank it, not have to worry about it. save his cleanse for later.
And I think it's actually a really smart build because he doesn't need any more damage. As long as he can stay safe in the fight, with these damage items, he will shred through everyone. So yeah, great, get a death cap, overkill someone, or alternatively, you get caught and you die. So I think building a little bit more defensively like this can sometimes actually give you more offensive power because it gives you more ability to position aggressively and stay in the fight.
And you can see the graph of gold up and down as the mid game looks so good. Team Dignitas was snowballing up until 30 minutes, and then suddenly it got turned around, and Phoenix1 looking to make this turn happen. Everyone's got this true damage poke. Someday arrowed up. He's got no flash. He's got no health bar. Guardian Angel popped, and that is kind of a big deal because suddenly this 007 top laner could be only living once in this game. There's the kickback. Zig out of the turret tackled it as well, and they will take down the Maokai. What a bamboozle. You thought it was the one team tank dying. It's actually the other.
Zig really overcommitted there. I think that one was way too greedy. Chaser with a great punish. The kick flash knocks him in. They take him down. And now they're going to look over to Baron, which is spawning very soon. So P1 has thrown that advantage right back to Dignitas. They're going to start it up. We'll see if Phoenix1 can actually stop this.
Here we go, right into the river they go. Baron Nashor is alive, and the Elder Dragon buff timing out in about 10 seconds anyway, so won't really have it for this. Hawkshot says you're there, and it just doesn't matter. Inori won't be in range. Quick zoning from Xpecial. Red team is slaying Baron Nashor. Team Dignitas now make that 1-1 in Barons, and they were tied in gold until recently, but now back in the lead.
That was just such a good play from Chaser, and we're going to slowly push forward. Zig, he looks for it, but look how far ahead he gets from the rest of his team. So his ultimate, he goes up, and the rest of his team is so far behind. And then Chaser, kick flash, knocks him in, giving Someday the way out with that charge. Great synergy from the two players. Big time play from Chaser. Keeps Dignitas alive.
And that's the thing, is the mark of a really good player is knowing when you actually can focus the tank. The first round, P1 chunked down Someday, and that was great. And Chaser said, you know what? Yes, I will insec a Maokai into my team. It's the right choice in this context because we can pick him off, even despite Elder Dragon. And it did work out for him. And Chaser making a good play, helping Someday get out. And now the fight will continue. Baron Nashor on all 5. Team Dignitas just looking to crack inhibitor turrets, and we'll see if they can do it.
Certainly will. And the Elder Dragon off the table, Baron off the table. And P1 going to have to fight these guys straight up. They're not going to be able to kind of grab any advantages around the map for quite a long time here. But obviously, Dignitas still has to be very, very careful. And if the wrong player gets caught, they can get burst right down.
Well, speaking of the wrong player getting caught, Keen actually does sell his Zonias and goes Death Cap. He says, you know, I'm not getting any value out of this. I don't need to dodge away. Let's go overkill after all.
Yeah, and I think the important part there is keeping the Banshees, right?
Yeah.
Keeping the Banshees to absorb that first spell, which is probably going to be the Cocoon or the Arrow, something like that. As long as he's positioned far back and doesn't just get it randomly poked off, that's an extremely high value item.
Damage output will be insane. He just needs the uptime, and of course, it's been hard for him to find it. Open item slot for Lod, open item slot for Arrow. The marksman in the bot lane, still room to grow. Zig getting poked out. You can see the damage output actually noticeable there on the Hyper Tank. He has a slot available as well, but Keen, of course, has been maxed for quite some time. Rapid fire soon enough for Ryu. He's got the Zeal. It's going to be nice for his damage output if he gets the time to put it through.
Yeah, and Ryu and Adrian, good job there, poking off that Banshees, getting a little bit of damage down onto Keen. Looking for those opportunities is Inori.
Flash, ooh. Special looked for the root and didn't get anything done. I mean, I guess he made Inori flash away himself. Trade of health bars, Zig still holding up the front line as best he can. Dean looking for the opening, more soldier damage. Ryu chunked a bit. Bot lane, look at the pressure. Lod,
the arrow
not
Chaser.
gonna get stunned. Chaser able to walk away. His Merc Tread's helping save his life as well. Half HP there.
Yeah, and Zig with some more strength there. You know, the question is, was it too much? He didn't even want to throw down the root there. Perhaps worried about getting kicked further in or knocked back by Keen's wall, you know, getting separated from his team and getting taken out. So they're just going to keep trying to hold on, keep trying to wave clear. But that turret looks like it may be going down.
Dangerous.
Very low.
Yeah, QSS down and Banshees is down. The tackle onto Zig. They finish the turret. Ooh, a lot of damage comes out from bullet time. And Someday, not long for this world, chunked out at the end of it. Now the chase. Ryu wants onto Keen, not in range. There we go. One shot comes through, but that flash was just for an auto attack. That didn't mean enough. He had a 40% chance to crit, and even if he did, it wouldn't have killed.
Here's the TP, though, coming in from Zig.
This could win the game. This could be the game-winning flank for Zig if he gets it to happen. Looks for the play. Standing on a pink board as the rest of Team Dignitas. Here he is, looks for Keen, and he's going to run to the back line, but now that is isolated. Ryu picks up one, takes the support. Live flash, then can't get the damage. A double for Ryu, and the chase is on. Only 2 members alive for Team Dignitas, and you have Chaser running in the mid lane, trying to buy some time, trying to take down mid lane in response against P1.
Yeah, Chaser is going to go right onto that turret. He should get the turret, but Inori is coming out here, has home guards. Chaser needs to be careful to not overcommit here, because he could lose this 1v1. Inori's going into it.
Smites away the buff. Actually, Adrian doesn't get away from the knockback. It's going to be a rotation from bot lane to mid. There were no minions to push to the bot side. There's no Baron to kill, no Dragon either, and it's Zig saying, Chaser, I can find you. I know you're fast, but let's see if he can get it. There's the root, there's the auto, there's the knockback. Times it pretty well. Sapling slow, arrow's gonna land. Chaser should die for this, and yes, a very desynced jungler death. It'll be a minute without him, and that means more map control. P1 in the 5v4. Still, again, no Baron to kill, but maybe they can find top lane before King clears it out. Or maybe it's literally just 3 kills and a map reset.
P1 just keeps finding their opportunities, refusing to go down in this game, and Nori and Zig camped out here. They are on a ward, but it looks like they want to try to set up a flank here on this mid lane tier 2, try to zone them off the turret. Maokai can walk up, try to position, and allow his marksman to take down the turret, and I think Dignitas should probably just give up his outer.
Adrian nearly dies to the poke from Keen. You talk about overkill, nearly takes him out, 2% health left, and just that, stepping up a little bit, Keen saves mid lane tier 2.
Yeah, good job. I mean, I definitely would have thought they'd give up that outer because they don't have Chaser, but they're willing to fight for it. They keep it alive and keep that little bit of gold out of the hands of Phoenix1.
A little bit of gold still to go on these players. Arrow going to build towards some lifesteal, and I'm not sure what it'll end up being. Ruin King is definitely the best tank killing, and he's got a fairly tanky Poppy and a fairly tanky Lee Sin to deal with. We'll see if that ends up being the build.
Yeah, the question really just becomes how afraid is he of dying? I mean, he went Maw, which is pretty conservative against a team like this. Does he go Bloodthirster as a more conservative option?
Sure.
Is he worried about getting caught by some CC? You know, can go Mercurial. So he has a few options here. Bloodthirster, I think, is probably the most standard, but I think there's a lot of good options. And Blade of the Rune King, to your point, is something that I think is pretty underestimated as an item, and is very, very good at taking down frontline, of which there are 2 to work on for Dignitas.
Right. And we'll see what he ends up choosing. About 2,300 gold in Arrow's pockets right now means the upgrade is not far away with that 900 gold value Vamp Scepter already in. 1,200 in the inventory of Laud as he builds toward his Maw of Malmortius. Only a few hundred gold for him till he maxes out. We know Keen's maxed for a while, and Ryu recently capped his build off with the rapid fire cannon and the earlier Leandries.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of places where there's these ginormous gold leads for Dignitas don't really matter anymore. There's like 130 CS lead for someday. Well, guess what? Zig is almost 6 items. It no longer matters. You don't get any more advantage there.
You know, actually, I want to see the build that Huni did in the LCK where you pick up a Knight's Vow on the tank and you bind with someone like Ryu or Arrow because you know they're going to put the damage out. And it's basically just gigantic lifesteal, and it's better tankiness than some other slots could give you. Locket, of course, great for the team. If Zig feels invincible anyway, then it doesn't matter. And just keeps the team alive against some of the AoE damage coming out from Special and Keen.
Now this is interesting from Adrian, picking up, he's building towards a Leandries after going for the Black Cleaver and that Mortal Reminder. You know, what do you think about that kind of a build?
I like
just for the tank damage?
Yeah, I mean, it's, what else are you really going to buy? Like, I would have to do the math to know, to be honest, because he obviously has no magic pen in the slightest otherwise in the build. Like, maybe Infinity just is the correct item to buy. It's a math problem, but it makes sense. His E will poke, it'll do, like right there, someday we'll lose 110 HP. More than he would have otherwise. And sure, it doesn't mean a lot when somebody's got 5,000, but if you're playing poke, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
It'd be
interesting to see even just kind of building full AD, you know, building lifesteal will deal with some of that poke. But anyway, Dignitas moving over towards the Baron. They're going to be starting it up. Will they rush it down this time? They've been conservative in the past.
And Nori's looking for the steal, not the team fight. He's around the wing. Can he find the opening? 3,000 health left. Someday winding up, finds no one to knock back. Here comes the battle. They're not going to finish Baron. Zig going to be tanky, and it's not a lot of damage coming out from Adrian. Zig running out of health rapidly, but I believe he has Guardian Angel. The shutdown, and Nori picks down the major carry, and Zig still can't die. Adrian alive as well. The flash chase. They're trying to get Chaser, and he gets it. Arrow is on the hunt. Laud running for dear life. Someday running away. Chaser can't live through it. And that's a 4-for-0. Phoenix1 rise from the ashes. They can close this one out.
They can just go down the mid lane. The res timers are so long, and Nori chasing down Someday. He could win this 1v1, I think, but the rest of the team is pushing up mid. They are going to be looking to deal a death blow. Let's see if they can do it.
I think it's game. I don't think at 50 minutes the death timers are short enough to keep that from happening. And Nori playing a little bit with fire, but doesn't matter. So many people here in the mid lane. Zig back to full HP.
Marksman.
Yeah, he TP'd back in, and you've even got a blue elixir on Adrian, because that'll keep doing true damage every auto attack. This is going to be the game. I don't see a chance of the Nexus being stopped. All credit to Captain Flowers, but this time I'm going to have the end game call right here, as turret number 1 going to go down. Turret number 2 is next, and someday, I'm sorry, buddy, but the damage is not enough. It's going to be the turrets. It's going to be the comeback win for Phoenix1. 52 minutes in the making, and they tie up this series, looking to make it a 2-0 week at the end of it all.
Such a long battle for Phoenix1. It looked like Dignitas was in the driver's seat for so much time in that game, but they refused to say die. They wouldn't give up the Barons. They took the smart fights, and when it mattered, they came up big. They're able to find the plays. The last fight, Nori flanks around, takes out Keen, and breaks the back of Dignitas to give them the win.
And I didn't see that happen live. I thought he was looking for the Baron steal. I didn't see him sneak through Tri-Brush and suddenly jump on top of Azir, but there was clearly no front line there to protect him, and the instant assassination onto Keen, the high damage build from Nori, was insanely clutch in that fight. And with him gone, there just is no damage left. You're not going to pick off the rest of that team. They're far enough along in their builds. So that was huge that in the end of it all, the long con paid off, and Nori was smacked so hard in the early jungle, and all of P1, I think, got knocked down quite a bit in the early game. And they just held on. They just didn't give up the free kills, and they found the final kills in the end.
You have to finish off your opponent. I mean, Zig was down ridiculously far. He's down 130 CS at the end of the game. It doesn't matter. He gets to that almost invincible stage of the game where he's Maokai. He has a % damage reduction ultimate on top of full tank items, and he's able to live long enough in that fight to give Nori the time to get into the backline, to give Ryu the chance to go for these aggressive plays, and he was pivotal. And I really think it's an impressive game for Phoenix1. A lot of teams would have rolled over, would have made that mistake that ends the game.
Absolutely true. When we said, okay, their comeback win over Echo Fox, well, that's cute, but Echo Fox, their power rank kind of low. They're a new roster as well. Maybe that doesn't mean very much. And when you give away the comeback win, like in game 1 against Team Dignitas, it's like, okay, maybe Echo Fox, we overrated you guys. Or sorry, Phoenix1, we overrated you guys. But this one, a bit more convincing. They found the way back in, and it was a fun game to watch. 52 minutes in the making, but a beautiful one the whole way through. So that's going to do it for game 2. Tied 1-1, but now let's take another analyst to break that one down a little bit further.